I'm very excited right now to bring on a guest, a wonderful guest, a man who we've known for quite some time, toured with our side project, All Time Low. And it's just a pleasure to be around and a nice dude. And I'm excited that he wanted to come on and chat with us. I would like to introduce now Ben of Neck Deep.
Yo, what's up? I'm stoked to be the pick for the live interview.
Dude, this is going to be interesting. Like we were nervous when we started doing this show again to make our interview segment live because just so much can happen. And sometimes it's as simple as like the connection's bad and it just falls apart because of, shitty Wi-Fi. But no, it's not pre-recorded. Let me Beezy. It's
God,
not. This is real.
Damn it.
Can we do something? How do we do something to prove that we're live right now?
Show up though. Do you have today's newspaper clipping?
How do we prove that we're live?
I don't know. Fuck.
Okay. Look,
I've got paper right here.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna write a message to prove.
Yeah.
Wait, there's no way we can prove this.
This is like a proof of life thing. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, look. Here's my calendar. I'm just making sure there's no sensitive information. I'm going to cover the StreamYard link for a second. Right there, it says episode 8 broadcast. I don't know if you guys can see it with the time. Boom.
Yeah.
And it's happening right now. So this is real. This is real.
Also, things would be going a lot smoother if this was pre-taped. I'm just going to say this would have been
We
it.
probably wouldn't be doing.
What to say?
It's
Just,
Yeah.
Oh, wait. If everyone wants to see, this is real. It's live. I've got the time right now.
22:31 UK time. Quick math.
I love it
22 minus 12.
Yeah, you
Thank
guys
you.
might be the fucking-
Thank you for helping prove to the world that our show is not a sham, Ben.
Dude, I'm just trying to elevate you guys, I'm
We
just trying
just-
to make sure that it goes as good as it can, man.
We really
Trying to
brought
do
you
that.
here to just legitimize this whole operation.
Yeah, no, I think it's working.
Right on.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. What's good, man? How are things? Because I feel like, it's been a little while since we've all caught up personally and chatted and checked in. And so, first and foremost, like, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah, good. Obviously released the record like last week. So
Yes.
that was like, kind of at the forefront of everything we were doing. And then now it's been out for a week and we've had like the first week back. It's kind of like now would be the time that we go in and tour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what now? You know what I mean?
Welcome to 2020, my boy.
I know.
We've gone through a very similar situation, and it's very, very weird. We might as well just get right into the record since that's where we're at now. But so the new album is called All Distortions Are Intentional.
Nice.
You, as you said, put it out last week, which is a noble thing. I think with everything that's going on, I think putting out music right now as a band, as an artist, is what you have to do. I think you can't let the changes in an ever evolving and quite scary world at the moment affect how you put your art out there for people. Because I think at the end of the day, it's helpful. And I'm sure you guys feel similarly to us because we went through this as well in April. And I guess just first and foremost, how does it feel to have a record out in all of this? And how are you navigating that? Are you guys excited about everything? I'm sure you must be.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, really. Like it's good in a lot of ways that you're giving your fans something, and especially I think the record kind of tugs on the heartstrings a little bit. I think it's kind of pertinent to the time, so I think that's been good for fans, and I think that's been a good outlet, and it's given us a bunch to do leading up to this record. But like I said, now that it's out, it's like, oh shit, like,
so what's next?
Yeah, in a way it's like a great time to be releasing music, because it's like everyone's attention is on their phones, and everyone is like fully up to date with everything that's happening, and people are wanting like some kind of something to look forward to. But then when it's out, it's like, oh shit, kind of like
I like that you said it tugs on the heartstrings, because this is one of those years where it's hard to feel anything.
Oh, dude, yeah, exactly.
you have no emotion. Like, you wake up every day and it's like Groundhog Day. It's like, what can I? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
what crazy fucking thing is gonna happen?
Yeah,
today?
it's either
how much
like
weirder can it get? Yeah,
exactly. It's either immense waves of like sort of tension and anxiety and whatever, or it's just like I've gone numb again, and that feels nice. Like,
dude, that was one of those days for me today. I woke up today, I was just like, shit. I got just out of nowhere, just no reason for it whatsoever, but just like, oh shit, another day, fucking just with it. Like, I don't know, like we can kind of see our friends where we're at now. Like in the UK, things are okay. Like, we can kind of see people and whatever, but it's not just like sick. I'm gonna go and like do this or whatever, go watch a movie, and it's just kind of like another day of doing next to nothing.
Another day in doom. For sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of grim. But you know,
that being said, if you don't mind, so you kind of touched on the fact that you said that there's some things on this record that are pertinent to what's going on right now in the world, and I was wondering, you guys worked with Matt Squire on this record, who we have both known for a long time. We worked with Matt years ago, and he's a great friend.
A lot of good things to say about you guys. So.
I love that dude, and he's a great producer. And when did you guys write and record this album? Was it pre all of this madness, or was it during?
No, it was just pre. It
Wow.
was like on the cusp of the pre. So like it was literally, we finished up like just before Christmas, and then it was obviously in like January. Shit kind of like went really weird.
Yeah.
So we wrote and recorded it all like just before. We didn't let anyone know when we were recording it, because we were like, we wanted to be like weird and moody about it and like not let anyone know. So we were like,
hell yes.
Sometimes that's what you need, though. You got to just like keep it to
I
yourselves.
think like, and even still, we had such a long run up to the record as well that like by the time that it came out, like it was already like, I think we had drilled it into people. So if we were drilling it into people from like the second of like, hey, we're in the studio, it would have been weird. But so like November, December, we recorded it, and there was still a lot of like weird political rumblings happening around then. And even though it's not like a political record, it's still definitely kind of like fed into like what we were talking about. And,
that shit still affects your mood, and that mood goes into the studio, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. And like that was kind of what I wanted to focus on with it. Like a lot of people were like, oh, you guys need to write a political record, because we've written some political songs in the past, but like as far as I'm concerned, we're not fucking Rage Against the Machine. Like we're not gonna fucking write.
It's not your brand per se. It's like, if it comes up, sure, but it's not what you're trying to like push on people, I guess.
And like with that shit, you have to be so fucking bang on with what you're talking about. If you get one little thing wrong, it's just gonna be a bad time. 100%. But it was more like what Jack was saying, like it's more about how that affects you personally, not necessarily down to like, oh, I'm annoyed about the politics, but it's more just about like, God, everything's so crazy. This is, like,
depressed and shit.
Up. Yeah.
Well, I think there's something very interesting about that, because obviously not everybody is looking for an album or a body of work or a band or anything to sort of sell them on a political message. I mean, that's great too. And like you said, if it's done effectively and it checks all the boxes, then that can be so powerful and so moving. But I think what's really interesting about, you know, what you said about your record is that it's what you're feeling. It's what you're living at the time. And that almost transcends, because people who are listening to it are going to take those same things away. You know, everybody's going through this together.
And I wanted to focus on the individual, man. Like I didn't want it to be about like this general like society-wide kind of like reaction to how things are folding out. Like it is about the individual. It's about the listener. It's about how it makes you feel amongst all this. Even if like politics isn't even your big concern or whatever, like just the state of the world is gonna have an impact on you mentally. And that was a big thing. And like again, like if we miss the mark on a totally political record, it's like I don't know. And as well, it got to a point where I think people have, at least when we were writing this record, it was actually like in the height of like Brexit and UK elections and all that sort of stuff, and we were so sick of hearing about it. Like the election night was while we were at the studio, and I was raging. I'd say I'm probably the more political dude out of the band, and I was raging. And I think everyone was just kind of like, oh God, like I don't think anyone would have had the energy for a political record. It's tiring, right?
Totally.
It's fatigue. It's like
you're seeing it all day on the internet. You need an escape. You need something different for sure.
Yeah, we didn't want to shove a politics down people's throats when they're probably looking for like the opposite of that right now. So in a way, that's kind of worked out pretty well for us. Like that was kind of a smart move. Like not.
Are there some breakup songs on there?
Yeah, kind of. Well, it's like. Well, maybe not. I think this is what, like, you know, 99.9 of the response has been like super overwhelmingly positive, and the other like 1% was like, just not moody enough, not like I don't know. But to me, like it's like I'm not a teenage dude like crying over his ex-girlfriend anymore. So there's like maybe one breakup song on the record, but generally because it's like it's a whole story the whole way through. It's like it's a concept record. Loosely.
No, I love that though. I feel like, you know what? That's interesting. I feel like there's there's always a really negative connotation that's tied to like making a concept record. And I feel the same way about it. Like people have asked me that before because one of our former records was sort of that. And like every time I talked about it, I did the exact same thing that you just did there where I'm like, fucking concept record. Like it's not really.
Yeah.
But like, it's okay. It's like, okay to kind of go there. Like,
dude, I think
weaving a story can be really, really interesting. And so like what exactly were you going for? What story are you telling on this record? If it's sort of connected, and you know, what's the takeaway for people?
Yeah, well, I mean, the story focuses around two characters. So we have Jet, who is like the main character, who is like loosely based on myself, or like the weirder parts of myself, I guess.
Sure.
He lives in a fictional world called Sonderland. Kind of like the word Sonder means to like the realization that everyone like even passers-by in the street have a life as vivid and complex as your own, which is
cool.
Right. No, that's
broody.
Incredible.
But no, so we played off on that, and basically it's about his story. He's looking at the world around him, has no connection to the world around him, hates the world around him, feels completely isolated and alienated from the kind of expectations of society and the world, and meets a girl, falls in love, and it's kind of like this simultaneous battle with his like quite severe mental health issues, and then while also falling in love. And the takeaway at the end being that you know, purpose and happiness kind of comes in small packages, and it's found in the smallest things. And generally, you know, you shouldn't beat yourself up over wanting to like be somebody or be impressive to people, but really that, yeah, you know, love and happiness is all you really need. And the big takeaway from that just being fuck everything else, really. And it's the journey of coming to that realization is kind of what the story's about.
Yeah, I fucking love that, because I feel like, as you said, right now especially, I feel like we need stories like that, because again, it's not necessarily about this big picture thing. It's about what we all individually are feeling as ourselves in all this together. And it's somehow both so removed because of how isolated we all are from one another, but it's so interconnected as well on a big picture kind of level. And what you said was really kind of important just then, in that, you know, that every time you pass someone in the street, that person is the star of their own adventure as well. You know, they're the main character in their story. And I think a lot of the time, not to get too heavy, but like we forget that. It's so easy to forget that because
the world doesn't revolve around me.
Well, it does and it doesn't. That's kind of the realization. Your world revolves around you, but like that was totally like something that I had like not battled with, but just pondered. And like, you know, we all think of ourselves, and rightly so, to an extent, that we're like the center of our universe and that everything revolves around us.
The Truman Show, baby.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but you realize eventually that there is a whole world outside of your little bubble. And like, again, I love when I stumbled upon that concept of like Sonder and what that meant. I was like, oh damn, that's like shit. Putting a word to like the feeling I've had of walking past someone and just thinking like, what's their life like? Like, what's their deal, you know? And even as a kid, man, just realizing like making friends with people and laughing at the same shit, and then going like, we find the same stuff funny, so it's not just me that thinks like that, like you think like that too. Shit, we all think the same. And realizing that there's also another word for like the opposite of that, where you truly think that like you kind of like control the universe. Like I guess it's kind of like manifestation and all that stuff. People who are like super into their manifestation, which like I've definitely gone down that rabbit hole before, but there's like another word which is basically like you think that everything is yours and you like control the world and shit. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I went down a fucking rabbit hole with this record, man. I was
but I love that. And I think
like doing a thesis on this shit.
I think what's really fascinating about that whole thing is that there's some truth to both, and that there's probably the ultimate truth right in the middle of those two things, where you have this ideology that, you know, like the story does revolve around you because you're the main character in your head, versus having the awareness to look at the people around you and go, yeah, but they're also feeling that way about themselves, and everybody's in this together. And it's like, if we could all land on that realization, it's potentially like it would be better for everyone, you know, if we could admit that while we are the star of our own show internally, everyone's the star of their show as well. And so it's not for us to dictate, you know, how those people go about living their lives. And there's something very fascinating in that, because I think it would probably, we could all benefit from taking that inward look, most likely, and really dwelling on it. And it seems like you have, which is sick. And it makes me that much more excited to dive in on this album now, knowing that that's where you were going with it. That I don't know. That's really cool.
I feel like you need that backup with concept records and stuff. Like that's kind of been the annoying, like not annoying part, but like the kind of like having to explain it a lot, because it's a little tiring sometimes having to be like, oh, it's about this and this and this, and you have to know this to kind of get it. Yeah. But at the same time, that's what makes it cool. So
someone in the chat just said, "Wow, this is deep." Neck
dude.
Deep.
If I like, dude, I don't have a fucking brand ever. Like I am like the least savvy with any of that shit at all. Yeah. But like, I've always just I talk so much, and if someone gets me on some weird like ethereal lucid conversation about like consciousness and weirdness and just like connection between people, I'm
fucking
like, hello,
lead singers, man, can't live with them.
Ben, I love you so much, and you're speaking my language. And if we could just remove Jack from this, and this is the Ben and Alex show now.
Yeah,
and he's gone. That's so sick.
All right, have fun, boy.
Yeah, peace. No, Ben, how are the rest of the dudes? And where like, so two kind of general questions. How are the dudes? And where like, what's next? I mean, in this landscape, we kind of already said that it's hard to know. But yeah, like, what are you guys prepping for this? You know, having a record out in this COVID.
I have no world. Fucking clue, dude. I mean, like,
fair answer.
We have some in-store type scenarios. Like we got some of those coming up in like November, so even then it's still like a while off. But they're like the closest things that like right now that we've got coming up shows. We do have shows penciled in for September and December, but being completely honest, let's be real, like that ain't
who knows? Yeah, who fucking knows?
It's so fucking up in the air right now. Like it's just we're holding on to them, probably being fucking idiots, like thinking, like, oh yeah, sure we'll get it. But as the days go by, it's like ever increasingly just more and more unlikely. So
yeah, we've been in the same boat, man. I feel you. It's so strange to have these sort of like very tangible dates where you have an expectation of like being able to finally fulfill some sort of thing that would be payoff for all the hard work you put in on the creative. But like, yeah, it's just there.
Well, also try not to get your hopes up because you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Exactly, dude. Like even these in-store things we got coming up could be like totally, you know, in a month's time could be like off the cards completely. But like I was literally just talking to the dudes about this because like we, you know, record's been out, you know, number 4 record in the UK.
Hell yeah, congrats.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, so we were like fucking buzzed off that, but it's like there's still this weird like it almost feels like it's still not out yet because we're not immediately on the road like playing shows to people. So it's kind of like, oh god, who knows? Like who knows what we do? But I think like, you know, we've managed to like like we've started like streaming on Twitch and stuff. Like we've started like playing video games and doing like old album listen throughs and stuff like that. And that's been really sick. That's been like a good way of keeping things going. And like I heard you guys like talking at the start of the show like about how a little community is kind of building and you're starting to get, and it's same thing's happening with us. Like that's been like the super unexpected side effect of it all is like, oh sick, this is actually really cool to like get on the stream every week and then see the same people in the chat and you start to recognize the names and you start to...
I think that fans are starting to realize how also boring band dudes are.
That's basically it.
Yeah, like we don't have a life.
We've removed the mystery and now everybody knows how much we suck.
I know, band dudes just sit around playing video games all day, just like
Dude, there'll be some streams that we like put a lot of effort into and we plan and they're like super sick and we're like, yeah, this is fucking sick. And then they'll have some days where it's like just me or just West playing a video game and it's kind of like
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, at one point I fucking revealed my email address being a dumbass. I was like, oh, wait, how do I invite this dude to reveal my email address? I was like, okay, that's gone. Luckily,
No,
it was
how
like
is that-
kind of a throwaway email
How is
address.
that gone now? Because I feel like that could even be like a really interesting thing to dive into. Like that needs to be like your live stream now just needs to be you fielding random emails that you get.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I haven't had to. Well, as well, it's an old ass email address that I just
Fair.
use as like my like. That's how like my throwaway that I just use for like dumb shit, just like whatever. So,
That's
like
the one you
just,
gave
like,
me, right?
Nah, you got my legit one. You got the real one.
Thanks.
You got the real one. But still, it's kind of. I could do that though. I could like bait myself, or at least do like. I remember there was a super weird social media platform. Like it was very short lived, and it was in maybe like 2008 or 9, and it was called Formspring, and it was like you could just ask people like anonymous questions, and at the time that was like, whoa, this is so cool.
Right.
But I could like kind of bring that back and just be like, right, here's an email address of mine. You can email me anonymously or whatever, but just say like whatever the fuck you want to do, and that could be sick. All right, I've come on the show, and you've just given us better ideas to how to make our shit better. So
Hell yeah!
I love that.
there's the benefit already.
10%, please.
Yeah. Royalties. We will be coming to collect.
Yeah.
There's 5 penny. That's 5 thruppence for you there. some shillings for you. Absolutely.
Oh man. And finally, I noticed that you have a very good boy with you. Well, he was with you. There's a cute little dog, and before we would be remiss if we didn't introduce this pup on the show.
Come here, bud. Oh, he is so lazy. Like he was sat here for a little while.
Whole time
now
he's left.
He's sat like just over here, and I'm saying, "Come here," and he's literally just looking at me.
He's like, nah, dude.
Fuck off.
I'm over it. Yeah.
Hey, what's this? Come and say hello. No, he's literally.
It's okay. It's okay.
Going, nah.
That's how I would feel too.
Yeah.
If I had relocated to my napping position, I'd be like, nah.
Dude, he's a fucking weird dog though, man. He's the best, but because he's a bulldog, so he's just like super. They're just weird. They're just weird dogs. They sleep so much, and they just have these weird personality tweaks. Literally 2-3 a.m. last night, I was like kind of just getting off to sleep. He's like in his like little like crate thing that's in the corner, and he literally just threw up the most throw up I've ever seen in my life.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy.
And
get it out.
My girlfriend was like fast asleep. I was like,
Oh,
sick.
We'll deal with it in the morning.
dude, there's as a dog owner,
there's
there's
part of me that was like that, but I was like, no,
Yeah.
I could not do that, dude. Plus, this house gets so, I don't know if you can tell, it's fucking hot in the UK at the minute. Like,
I heard that. Yeah, it's
believe it
crazy.
or not, fucking newsflash, it's warm here.
The sun is out.
Yeah, the sun has returned to the UK.
Incredible.
And so it's super fucking hot. And so, like, dude, hot room, dog vomit. Not
There's
the
a-
horniest
Sounds like a
time.
'90s record.
Jack, you
Hot room
don't
dog
own a
vomit.
dog. You don't have a dog. I know you.
Way to rub
want
it in
a
my
dog.
face.
No. I was gonna say I know you want a dog, and you've been like kind of pondering, and there is nothing quite like when you're a dog owner, the awareness you learn to have while you're asleep of what it sounds like when your dog starts barfing.
Oh, yeah.
It will wrench me from the deepest sleep, and I'll just hear like a subtle thing in the corner of the room.
And
I'm
you're
like,
a
"Oh,
hard
it's
man
puke."
to wake up.
It's crazy. I am, but I
I
like
could have someone
without
with
fail.
a megaphone in my face, like yelling at my face to wake up. But if my dog even like remotely like grumbles, I'm like, oh, what the fuck? What
It's
are
a
you
thing.
doing?
It's like a sixth sense.
Yeah, man, it
It's
is.
crazy.
Yeah, it'll change your life, dude. Get a dog. Get a fucking
get yourself a
bulldog.
dog.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Dog.
Yeah, West recently
Fine.
got one, and
I just
he
get,
is
like, 4
like
dogs.
he's a complete man now. He is the
love
full complete final
Hell
form
yeah.
West. So,
It's such a cool thing because like you think you know how rad it's going to be, and then you actually get in it, and you're like, this is so much more fulfilling than I ever realized. It's
kinda
hard.
wish-
It's hard.
I gotta
work,
figure out how to
but-
take care of myself first, though.
that is important. Yeah,
Like I can't be waking up and throwing up myself and my dog throwing up at the same time. Like it's
no,
just
but you
one of-
can because that's the one thing that I love about my dog, and I think it's just across the board of all dogs. They will never ever judge you, no matter what.
Yep.
Like you can be the biggest piece of shit, you can be in the most foul mood, be whatever, and your dog will just be like, "I love you. What
I
are you
love
doing?
you.
Where are we going? Yeah,
Not
what are we
me.
doing?" So yeah.
100% validation at all times.
Yeah, and that's what we all want, dude. Validate.
Hell yeah.
Dog is the
Hell yeah.
ultimate validation.
Pulls you back from the brink. Dude, thank you so much for
Ben.
coming on
Appreciate
today,
it,
man.
dude.
No worries, guys.
It's
Thanks
been
for
really
having
nice
us.
to catch up with you. And
I was saying to Ryan, like, I was like sat waiting. Like sometimes when you jump on podcasts, sometimes it's like, you jump in, you do the bit, or it's like a pre-recorded bit.
Right.
But like I was watching the show coming up to it. I really enjoyed it. It's sick.
Oh,
Hell yeah,
It's a really
thanks,
cool
dude.
show,
so
man.
much, man.
Like
It's good
genuinely
fun.
really, really cool.
Thank you. Well, dude, it was born out of the same thing that, like we were talking about, with trying to figure out better ways to connect with people while we can't be out on the road. It was just like, let's do this. And it's been fun.
Well, it's working, man. It's a really good show. So yeah,
Thanks, dude.
Congrats.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
brother.
And congratulations on the number 4 record in the UK. That's so sick. I'm so happy for you guys. The album is called All Distortions Are Intentional. It is out now. If you have not yet picked it up or given it a listen, please go and listen because it sounds absolutely fascinating and I'm stoked. Ben, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Good
you.
to see you.
Take it easy.
Later,
Yeah.
man.
Hell yeah.
Ben Barlow, Neck Deep.
Nice.